Hello and welcome. Really excited here today because I have Dr. Jeana Locke with me. She's a certified TOLPAKAN Healing Practitioner and she has a lot of other skill sets below. We're going to talk about her journey as a healer, her journey to go into the TOLPAKAN 1 and 2 program, and all sorts of really cool stuff. Dr. Jeana, thank you so much for being here today.
Well, thank you for allowing me to come in and share. I have loved TOLPAKAN healing, so this is just a great opportunity. Thanks so very, very much.
Oh, you're very welcome. Very welcome. I'm excited for you to share your journey. It's a very interesting journey. So let's say, okay, let's go back in time and what exactly were you doing before you became a quote unquote healer or practitioner?
Well, I was in education for 30 plus years. I had been in education. I had a Ph.D. I had certifications out the gazoos in teaching and education. I taught licensed professional counselors assessment and career assessment and capstone classes. I did all the capstone classes for the program that I was in, which is your final project before you go out to take your certification exam as a licensed professional counselor. So assessments were my thing that I taught there, and I loved it. And I'd been doing it, and I had really enjoyed, and I found great joy in learning and doing it. And I had all of that PhD stuff that went with it. And yet in my life, I was feeling, I hit this point of everything was lost and alone, and I was empty, and in my life nothing was working. So I tried all that Western stuff. I tried eating healthy, and I did exercise. I rode my bike 100 miles a week. I did the right sleep. I had all my hormones checked. I did all of the things that Western science says you should do, and things work. I did everything I tried. I did it with the proper formatting of society's rules, and yet life just was terrible. I was at a super low point in my life. I felt very suicidal. I felt very alone, and I couldn't figure out why. And I had a near-death experience. It was my third one, and I figured out, you better get your rear gear. You're not going to get to die until you get this together and you do what you're supposed to do. And to be honest with you, I just started exploring Eastern modalities because I was really okay with dying, but I was real ready to get there, and I wasn't going to get to go there unless I did what I was supposed to go do. So I literally jumped into studying Eastern modalities so I could get this whole life over with, and ended up connecting with an energy healer who was my first big energy healer person. And in the first session, she changed my life. The very first session, she did this awesome thing. She asked me some questions. She said, can we stay a little longer? We did a few things. And as I started the journey of, I was broke. I was like many people, there was no money, and I found a way to get money because I had hope after that session. And at the 10th session, when I booked 10 sessions, I forced myself to do it because I didn't want to back out, And I booked my 10th, and at the 10th session, she said, do you know why I had you stay on a little longer for that first session? And I said, no, I have no idea. And she said, you were at 3% will to live, and you were going to commit suicide the next day. And I knew it. And I wasn't going to let that happen. And I knew at that moment, this is where I'm supposed to be and what I was supposed to be doing. And I embraced it. I started studying. I became certified. And I studied in different fields. I did emotion code and the body code stuff, and I did Akashic records, and I found I was super gifted at it. And then I had this really experience of having a reading on human design reading, and it totally put everything together. It was like a puzzle piece that had been missing. And so I went through and I explored it, and I studied, and I started certifying in human design, in quantum human design, and I loved it. And during this whole time, I was having these experiences with it. And my original energy healer had said, hey, you gotta go try watching TOLPAKAN healing stuff. And I'd watched a few of your sessions, and I ended up deciding it was like, I really was what I'm going to call tug at your heart. And it resonated with me to take TOLPAKAN 1. And when you opened it that year, at that year, you only opened it once a year. And you opened it that year, I had saved my money, and I had gone in and done TOLPAKAN 1. And I did it pretty quickly. I went through it. I loved it. I did that. And then the opportunity came up for a the synchrony session with you to talk and discuss and do that. And I went in and did it, and I knew I was supposed to do it, and my cash wasn't there, and saved my money the next year. And you were kind enough to offer to let me come in the next year, and I went in, and it was just perfect. It gave these wonderful ways to connect all my Eastern stuff and all my Western stuff and all my human design, and it put the pieces to make a really beautiful package. So
It's like
that's how I
it feels like
do.
you have all these puzzle pieces, all the over time you've collected all these amazing skill sets. You know, the
Mm-hmm.
teaching, the assessment, the Akashic records, the belief code, body code, emotion code, you know, put together, and then quantum human design was a big piece of the puzzle.
Still
And that's
is.
very
I'm still
exciting.
taking. Yeah.
Yeah,
And I start.
it
Yeah.
it's so
And
huge.
I did the coaching in it. So I did coaching certification through all of that, the year-long program, which is pretty extensive, 5 days a
Yes.
week. She had a 5 days a week program.
Wow.
It was extraordinary, but you really did learn a lot about coaching. And so then I met you, and it tugged to say, this is going to help everything click easier.
Hmm.
Like, this is going to be the thing that's going to help do that next dimension that isn't in all these other pieces, the stuff
Hmm.
that is missing. And it did. And that's how I came in and how I did it. It tugged at me so strongly. I couldn't have walked away. I couldn't have. Yeah.
Wow. Well, that answered the other question I was going to ask you was what made you decide, you know, to do the Topican level one and then the level two. So you kind of answered that. Now, did you personally have some sort of result or something that helped you make that decision, or you just knew that was it?
When I first went in to explore your program, I was working on resistance within myself, like on a
Mm,
personal level, resistance
okay.
in myself. And you, for some reason, somebody said, hey, she does this little thing on resistance and willingness, and she's going to have this little thing on it this week. And I went in and joined that session, one of those free sessions, or I don't remember if it was in the
I can't
digest or
remember.
what. And I listened to it, and it clicked. And it was like, this is great, yet it's not enough. There's more. And she can teach me more. She can show me more. She can help me understand this better, because resistance and willingness is a huge component of my issues in life. And it's a huge component of our clients' issues in life. We just have a hard time letting go of our resistance or our willingness to embrace another change or a different concept. And so it started because of that particular class. I don't know if it was a class, Dr. Karen. It may have just been one of your the digest. I don't remember which one, but it pulled and tugged at me to get to learn more. And I started exploring more and started saving money. And I had no idea how much it cost to do certification one. I had no earthly idea at all. And I saved my money up. And when you opened it, I joined, and literally I had saved just enough money to get in. It was just
Wow.
really interesting. So yeah,
That is
it worked.
amazing. Yeah,
Yeah.
well, you are, you know, you're the kind of person that really resonates with me, in that like your vision of mastery, like you just love to master whatever it is that you put your mind to. And so I've been learning from you human design and how that, you know, can be really complementary to the Topican healing, knowing our blueprint. We
Yes.
had to come into the Health Freedom Tribe to do a little, you know, a little guest speak on that. And we were focusing on the throat chakra, but we learned so much more. I learned about open energy centers. Now it makes so much more sense why some people seemingly have poor boundaries, but it's like they can't help it. They're just
They can.
receiving so much. And how you shared about like the people with open centers, they can tune in or tap in, good or bad, to, you know, the frequencies out there, the wisdom of the ages, and that their skill set is now, how do I discern, is this mine, is it not mine, do I need it, don't I need it? I think even that one piece alone has been super helpful for my husband and I, because sometimes I'll be like, okay, he's feeling other people's stuff again, right? But now it's like he's like, oh, is it that my open center? Is that what's going on? Like, yes, sir. Tell us
And we
about how
teach
you've done this.
Well, I did. I found that I have four defined centers and five open, and my open centers are open center of emotional solar plexus and the spleen, which is fear, and the ones I have open are where I pick up all of these other energies and I amplify those. And when I grasped that about myself and I understood my human design, I totally got it why I experience things so differently than my family experienced things because they didn't have these same centers, they didn't have the same design. My family were generators and projectors, and I was a manifesting generator, so I had a whole different energy style. I had my profile number was very different, so they all had similar profiles, and then there was me, like I was literally that totally
The black
abnormal
sheep.
person within the family. I was because they didn't understand that I saw the world through a three, which was experiment and explore and try. And they were ones and twos. And so they looked at the world through research and integration. And hey, I wasn't going to research real deep and I wasn't going to integrate super hard. I was going to explore and experiment. And if it tugged at me, then I was going to go learn it, but only when it tugged. I didn't have to go super deep to get there. So it helped me so much. And when I started working using, became certified and I started using it with my clients, I recognized the benefits of using it with healing. Because
Mm.
sometimes the healing that we do is that we just need to recognize it wasn't even ours. It was not ours, but if it is ours, then let's go heal it. If it's not ours, let's learn how to release that energy, just like we do in TOLPAKAN healing. I've created commandments around releasing energies that are not our energies. They're not even mine. I pick them up, I've absorbed them, I release this absorbed energy, and I just go with it and use it. It gives the clients a whole new perspective and teaches them a new toolkit to use for them to use for themselves in between sessions if they need it, or for them to recognize they do have a tool to use and to help them grasp how it works. It also helps with decision making to learn
Yeah.
that we have 7 different ways to make decisions, and best practices in those are dependent upon your human design. So just because I might do a yes or a no, you might have a totally different experience on how to make decisions, someone else might. And recognizing that in relationships is super big, valuing it and understanding where it comes from and why and how it helps us as a society be better is really helpful. So I have found connecting things such as the TOLPAKAN healing. TOLPAKAN healing is a really great way to release bigger groups of energies that we need to release and do it in these places that we let go. And when you combine it with human design and you use the type of commandments with it, you can help a person literally start loving themselves. And if they can love themselves, then they can get where they want to be. They can find the strength within themselves and the courage within themselves to own their being authentic, and they can love themselves the way they are. And it's okay if somebody else doesn't totally get it, but you can also learn to love the other person in your life because all at once you can see they're not wrong. They're just seeing the world different. And
Mm.
that's
Yeah.
why I will say, you haven't asked this question, but I will say why I loved TOLPAKAN healing too is because it helped me connect those pieces together. Because TOLPAKAN healing too gives you in a whole a depth of the healing modality that allows you to really sink into it as a practitioner. And all at once, it's like if you allow source to give you that download, you can know how to help each and every client. And because I had the human design, it totally opens up how what to do with it. So going through TOLPAKAN healing 2 enhanced my human design abilities. It brought them up and showed them in a way that helped clients heal faster with
Mm.
greater ease, and they loved themselves when they got finished. And they didn't go leave thinking, why did that happen to me? And all of the questions that they sometimes can ask. So I found TOLPAKAN healing 2 added so much dimension to me, but my clients found that it added a huge dimension to them because they found that experience to give them a new way of letting go of stuff they hadn't let go of. And we used it in combination. So
Oh, that's beautiful. What I'm hearing is that you've found this beautiful way of combining all the different expertise you have, especially your specialty in human design, which I know you said previously when we were, on a call together, that human design, at least from your perspective now, is not quote unquote enough, meaning that
It's
you've
not.
seen that there's all these other ways that we can shift people from that low vibrational state to a higher vibrational state within their human design. So number one, your people that work with you are now honoring, because they get that reading from you, honoring who they really are, not trying to be somebody else. And you can help them raise to that higher vibrational version of their design. Did I get that more or less?
Yes, because in TOLPAKAN Healing provided an arena of which we're able to accent their true authentic self and then help them
Mm,
let go. And even when they're stuck, I may get a phone call from a client or a text or an email that says, I'm feeling this, especially when the dynamics of the energies in the planet right now are a little bit
mm,
heavy and we have lots of things coming through that don't always feel good to us. It's like helping them discern, like you said, is this mine? Is this someone else's? Is this something I need to release? Or is this something I need to observe? And giving them the opportunity to explore it from their uniqueness and honoring that and recognizing that there are times when you're going to need to do some energy healing. And sometimes you need to just recognize that you picked that up, sort of like you picked up a cold virus if you went somewhere, and you can release. We all do in energy healing, at least with TOLPAKAN Healing, I do, is I go through and release all the viruses before I come back into my house after I've been outside. I just do a clearing and haven't had a cold in a long time or anything. Saying that to you is I totally grasp the value of how it all connected. And I love the connection part of it. And TOLPAKAN Healing too gave me a whole new set of tools as a toolkit that was totally unique from what I had done before. That makes sense. Even though I had those other modalities, it gave me a whole new process of which to provide this to clients in a much more easeful way. Did that
right.
make sense?
Yes, and it sounds like, like in Topican Healing, we always talk about quality questions. Given
That's right.
your different expertise in different areas, including human design, now you could ask higher quality questions that you wouldn't necessarily known previously, that you could ask in the human design arena and be able to actualize and materialize a shift for the client much faster and easier than with maybe other tools that you used in the past.
They find it's a quicker process for them to get from point A to point C, and
Mm,
that point B doesn't last as long. That they sort of get it that, oh, I'm going to work through this and see how that works. Or they get to practice and experiment in their life of like, oh, if I don't do that, then I feel this way. And if I do this, then I feel this way. And it gives them the opportunity to experiment with it themselves so they can explore how it works within their own body. And then they can use it to help them discern their own stuff and build. And we build their toolbox. We build because each client we build a toolbox with it. Here's the kinds of tools that help you get through, whether it's intentional tapping and I'm certified in those things, the different tapping things, or if it's going to be in mindfulness or breath work, or if it's going to be in some type of movement, or if it's going to be whatever that may be that helps them on the home place between sessions to stop and release energies for themselves where they're not totally dependent upon me, but they
yes.
still recognize the value of we're letting go of stuff that's bigger. But you're letting go of that everyday stuff. Like you can sit and do some intentional tapping and I release all my emotional attachments to this and actually stop and give yourself a breath and breath work to go
Mm,
and use the vagus nerve and go through and go those different things to help you. And it gives them tools to start living daily life on a higher a higher level of quality of life. And I think so I will say quality questions one and quality questions two. I don't remember exactly what we called it in TOPAKAN Healing two, but we had this new advanced version of the quality questions, which were extraordinary because it was like, I use those questions, but I use them to say, how does their design impacting them? And then where do I go through to help them clear the design problems, challenges, obstacles, so they can actually get to the energy clearing, so they can actually get to their limiting beliefs, so they can actually get
mhm.
to a block or an imbalance, or there's something causing their pain in their lower back. But where's the differentiation? And that second level of questions or like this big aha moment, the light bulb's going everywhere, and seeing how you could stop and go, how I could handle those using this to get to from this point to help them. They may not go to point C today, but I might be able to discern what more point C needed to be to see where the challenges were in between. And it gives
Yeah,
them a whole new eye view of themselves to look at
right.
themselves differently.
And it's very specific. And even the general pieces that, you've shared, like the for example, I mean, I'm really early in my journey of human design. I definitely will not be taking that coaching course. Let me tell you, I don't have time for that. But just that little thing about how, because I have friends that are manifestors and projectors, and
Mhm.
so in the past, I hate to admit it, in the past I did judge and go, man, they're tired and they gotta sleep again. Jesus, like I feel like, what's your problem? Check your Dantian, check your vital chi. I didn't realize that part of their design is they need that, right? The projectors have their spurts and then they need to rest, right? And manifestors can't go on like us manifesting generators or any energized abundance. So even that tiny piece of information has been super helpful for me to be much more compassionate. But
I would
other,
say the compassion is what I received from that. Is all of a sudden I became more compassionate about here's what their body needs to be best practices for their body. And when you learn the profile numbers, it becomes even stronger because the profile numbers can all of a sudden say that you and I saw the exact same event, but I saw it through a 3-6. You may have seen it through a 1-3. Somebody else may have seen it through a 2-5. And the view of that and what comes in and what we receive in our bodies is totally different. And it is wonderful because we need all of the profile numbers to have a real balance in our world. But each of us should honor the one we have so we can contribute with that one to make it a better place. So saying that to you is that each of the different parts of the human design really help our world balance more instead of trying to make us all be one identical. The book,
we're not
um,
robots.
We're Not Robots. There's a book about penguins out there. There's a book, about peacocks. There's different books about it where that IBM image that everybody wears, navy pants, a white shirt, and a navy tie, that's all buttoned, is not the way the world works. And to stop and recognize we need all of these different birds in the world, and we need
Right.
all of those different things to get it. Well, human design gives you an eye-opening way to understand your own, and it does it. And then when you combine it with energy healing, you're able to find those things that are sort of stuck or that people have been holding on to because they're afraid to reframe because society said you shouldn't be like that.
Yeah,
So look at
exactly.
me. I was 60 years old before I got all this. 60. I had spent 6 decades of my life thinking I had to do it the way society said, and I had done it the way society said. Society might look at me and say, oh, you're hugely successful, but inside, I didn't feel successful at all. Inside, I felt totally, completely suicidal. Inside,
Wow.
I felt completely lost and alone, and that nothing I did was ever going to work. And that human design reading and using energy healing to clear the blocks, when I go to that particular circuit or gate and say, oh my gosh, I'm in the low vibration or the low expression of this particular gate or whatever, then I could clear those energies and emotions and imbalances. And then it was like, oh my gosh, that was so much faster than going through just straight emotion code. I mean, it was like, it felt like a miracle happened. And it
Wow.
did, but yet it had been there all along. I just didn't know how to find the miracle. And this helped me do it. So
That's fascinating. Well, let's talk a little bit about your TKH2 journey. Were there certain things that stood out for you as like, that, like positive experiences that you really felt like that was big for you during the
I would say
journey?
the most positive experience was when I offered to do human design readings for the other people in our cohort. And the ones who took me up on it did it, and it changed their lives.
Hmm.
They embraced who they were as a healer. They embraced how they would go about doing healing. They called and asked questions to help
Hmm.
go through
So
that
generous
journey
of
of
you. Thank you.
And it was one of those things where all of a sudden I recognized the true value of connecting the two. Because when I started it, it was going, oh, I'm going to be a TOLPAKAN healer and I'm also going to have human design. You can remember me asking this question, how am I going to combine these two, Dr. Karen? I mean, you probably remember that and you're like, oh, Jeana, your TOLPAKAN healing will be great. Da, 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 da. And you talked about it. And then when I started really experiencing TOLPAKAN healing with people and using their human design and helping them experiment with it, their journeys became so much more easeful and peaceful, and they saw themselves in a different way and they recognized things. And I totally got it, how valuable it was. So all the pieces in TOLPAKAN healing are great. You get lots of pieces of these different things in it. And I don't think you could pick out one of those above the others. But for me, that connection of my other part of me coming in with TOLPAKAN healing and how it literally created a really beautiful connection became to life because of the other people in the cohort. They
Wow.
brought it to life for me in their
Oh,
work.
okay. Okay. Yeah. So I'm hearing you say that one of the best experiences you had was, you would offer these free readings to the people in the cohort. You noticed how that plus the Topican healing really made a huge shift for them. You could see it, you could witness this happening. And then that question that you had, how am I going to integrate Topican healing and human design, literally got answered in this beautiful package at the end
Yes.
of the program. Wow. Wow.
It was
That is,
like it was planned for me
yeah.
to have that cohort group, for them to have those
Mm,
relationships and me to do a reading about their children or a reading about something in their lives along with them in human design and how that connected and helping them understand those other relationships or helping them understand their relationship with their work or how they would work. It was a huge piece of me that went, oh, yes. It was just so unbelievably fulfilling that it's hard to
mm,
describe, but it came together because of that. And
okay.
it opened inside of me a door that hadn't been opened. Then
Wow.
you and I talked, and then you said something in one of our, we had in Topic in English, you get interviews, not interviews, but you get sessions with Dr. Karen and pieces with Dr. Karen. And Dr. Karen said something on one of those that was like, oh, there was a leak right here, but she just fix the leak because all at once it was like a totally different visualization of how it would all connect. And it had been like, how do I do it? Because it was leaking out, trying to do the way society says to do it. And all at once it was like this aha moment. So my experience was that oftentimes you recognize that things come out that help you help your clients, but you don't always know when they were.
Mm,
And that was that one time when you made a comment and you said something and you suggested we do something from blah, blah, blah. And all at once it just clicked inside. Like the timing on a car, it'd been off, and all at once was the timing belt was working perfectly. It was just like a total boom, 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 boom.
that's
So it was
amazing.
a really needed thing to be able to honor both and recognize that one or the other is great. And when you connect the two, it can be even greater. And it equals three versus just two.
Right. Oh, that's so cool. That's so cool. Now, did you have any particular, we always ask this, any particular challenge that happened during your level two, and how did you overcome that?
So my greatest challenge during level two was my closest friend and my original energy healer became ill
Mm,
right before this all started. And she wanted me with her, and I wanted to be there. And being physically with her meant you're not going to get to do sessions. You can't attend the classes quite as much. You have to watch the replays. And it was very challenging inside. Like, how do I do both? And she made me promise you will finish Topican healing. She was, she was a Topican healing person as well. And
yeah.
she's like, you're going to do this. You're going to do this. You're going to get this.
Mm,
And even in her last days, it was such an important thing. So all the sessions got done, and the challenges of my energy level and my ability to concentrate and my level of grief of experiencing, recognizing what was going on, and the fact that she only wanted me physically in the room. She didn't want anyone else. And was a challenge, but the cohort team and you and your team just created such a safe container for that to exist. So I could pick up the phone and call one of the cohort team members and say, I'm really being challenged today to hold the space here in this hospital. And they would hold that space and clear the energies for me when I didn't have enough left in me to clear it. So I'd say my greatest challenge was in that, and she passed just as we finished the program and the certification stuff. She was able to pass and move to her next level and ascension. And I will say the support of your team and the cohort group to help me be able to do both, and along with my husband, was so significant, because it would have been really hard to have done this without that kind of a emotional support team to help me be there every day, and to say it's okay to be here every day, and to not worry about it, and to not worry about the money to pay for the hotels, and not to worry about how I'm going to do traveling 8 to 10 hours, and my husband, just the whole thing, not being able to be on live with every call, and feeling the prayers during the call of people supporting. It was, while it sounds like a challenge, it was actually an obstacle that turned into a huge opportunity for me to allow others to help me that I probably had never done before.
Yes, because you're extremely capable, and people that are extremely capable don't often, they're very comfortable in the helper healer role, not as comfortable in the receiver getting support role.
Yeah.
So thank you for seeing this as a beautiful opportunity. Thank you for allowing us to be there for you, and for you being there for our beautiful, beautiful healer. So yeah, thanks,
Yes.
Dr. Jeana.
It was a big blessing in the long run. So
Yeah, well, that's
and
intense.
yeah, it was. It felt intense. It felt intense at the time, and it was really it was more of a challenge when I look back on it than I realized it was. I didn't realize just how much I was struggling through it until I got through it. And then the next months, where the family was so dependent upon me for everything, was a whole new systematic process for me to go through, of like learning boundaries and doing some stuff. The whole experience was beyond just that. It was that whole part of the dependence of the family for me to be a huge decision maker in everything that occurred, because I was so close to her.
Yeah.
They needed that and wanted that, and were very tugging for me to do a lot. And I was worn out. And so anyway, you get it.
Yeah, well, you know, that it seems to me that that whole experience expanded your compassion for others in the situation, and it's all fine and dandy when things are going the way we, would like it to go. But when it
Yeah.
doesn't, who are we really? So you really got to see and experience yourself in that realm, and honor your experience, and see the opportunity in it, even though it was really difficult, and be able to reach out for help when you need it, which was amazing. That's, like I said, that's one of the things that healers don't do usually. They burn themselves out before they ask for help. So you're just a beautiful, shining example of how we would love, all of our healers to be. It's to,
And there was one bit about that I found to be, that I feel like I should share in this video, is that she was TOLPAKAN Healing 2 certified person. And her ability to go through this time of her life in significant pain and significant challenges was so much more easeful because of TOLPAKAN Healing. And there was much more simplicity for her and for me in this process than it was for her family, who didn't have that. And had this opportunity to see ascension each day, and I got the opportunity to see what regret looked like, and I got to see it of someone I respected a great deal, but also someone who had gone through and recognized that the TOLPAKAN healing experience had provided her a safe container to do this in. And it was a real blessing to get to see that and to understand that. So.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. Now, do you have from either from your Topican to Journey or after, do you have like a favorite case study? Like something neat happened when you did Topican
Oh,
healing on someone?
yes, I do. I had a client who came to me through a referral. She came to me through my sake. I do monthly free sessions. I do called First Thursdays. And she came through a First Thursday and came to a couple of First Thursdays where we do energy healing. And in that Sacred Soul session, that is a free deal, then she decided she was guided to do sessions with me. And we did some sessions and we started and we booked a package. And she actually came through and she did her human design. Our first session was human design. We got her human design. We got all of her stuff down. And she had these huge aha moments on the camera. You could just see her face going, oh my gosh, you actually get me. I mean, it's like you could see the movie of my entire life, and I am amazed at this. And she found it to be really helpful. And we talked about what to do to help her understand when it was her energy and when it wasn't. When she came in, she had experienced some huge obstacles in her life of alcoholism and being overweight. And she had overcome both of those. But she was at her point in her life where she was much like I had been. She was super sad. She felt alone. She felt very close to being suicidal. She thought about what would happen if I weren't here. Would it be okay? She had a lot of those thoughts as she was going on. She had spent so many years doing the expectations of others that she hadn't taken care of herself. And so we did the human design part, and then we started doing the sessions afterwards, energy healings and releases, and we did practices and home plays of what worked for her with her toolkit. And for her, she was a walker, so she could walk and tap and say, I release blah, blah, blah. And she could do stuff. And we come back in and do the stuff. And in the middle of all of this, we added Topican healing in there. And she did some free sessions of Topican healing, which you do as part of your certification, is you do some things. And she was so uplifted by her Topican healing. It was like this whole amazing thing of seeing herself in a new light, of having this understanding about who she was and what her purpose was and why she was here. And we finished up our 3-month program, and she left this program where she is now volunteering at the AA. They have a center for AA where she lives. And she goes in 3 times a week for 3 to 4 hours, and she does energy healing at the AA. She's certified in a couple of modalities now. And she goes in and does a whole process with people in AA to help them release what she calls those addictive things and helps them do it. And she has a whole clientele that come through, and she does this when she's able to do it. She had never been able to get to a point where she had been able to give back and gift.
Wow.
She also has sessions starting and growing as she's gone through her Discover Healing process of her certifications. But I will say on it, it was her understanding her human design and her cross of incarnation, which gave her a path that this is sort of what when you do this, your soul shines, your soul feels inspired. And she started embracing that path and embracing those components of her. So it combined all of it. And the last part was that whole thing about who am I? What am I here to do? And what's my purpose that we get in the Topican? And that was her session. And she was completely, teetotally inspired, and it was as though we were through in 3 weeks after that, and it had been a slower travel. All it took was that to get that aha-ness. And so it was a huge inspiring thing to see all the pieces come together before Topican healing and then with Topican healing and human design and all that, and to watch this soul become into her own. So
That's super inspiring. Yeah, you sound like you're just super inspired and enthused just seeing that progress and that shift from like she was progressing, and you added the Topican in as part of the volunteer sessions for the certification. And then there was like this rapid turnaround of
right.
really acknowledging and accepting who she really is and what she was here to do. And now look at her. I mean, this is amazing. Thank you for sharing that case study. Wow.
It was amazing. Now she already knew her cross of incarnation, but then when we did the Topican healing about who you're here and why you're here and who to do it, it was like, oh my gosh, it gave a concrete piece to an abstract concept, and it was off to the races, and she won.
That's great. Well, let's talk a little bit about what kind of client is a good fit for you. Who are you looking for? That's a good fit for
Ones
you.
that are a good fit to me are people who felt like something's not working. They feel like they're either settling in life, it
Mm-hmm.
hurts inside, they have no idea. It feels like I've tried all these things, but it doesn't work. And they have explored and contrasted, and it's like nothing's clicking. If they
Mm-hmm.
feel alone and they feel lost and it's just not working, then it's a good fit because I come in with a process of helping them look at themselves from multiple angles and
Mm-hmm.
multiple perspectives and helping them build a complete unique toolbox that's just for them and helping them move forward with that next step. So it gives them that opportunity to see them their uniqueness. And while everybody doing TOLPAKAN healing does uniqueness, it gives it the opportunity to look at it from the wiring that you have, that source. God gave us this unique wiring called human design, and then to be able to incorporate that next part of it and do that. So they are really benefit well when they come in wanting to embrace that bigger picture and they want to ascend. And they also understand that the journey is ongoing, that it is a continuous, that we're going to hit new obstacles and then we're going to have an opportunity to grow and we're going to hit new obstacles and grow, and that's part of our journey, and that they recognize that one time fixes it doesn't fix it forever. It fixes that component, but you're going to have a new opportunity to ascend and evolve even higher. And that part is those people who recognize that and realize that they may not need me all the time, but they need me once in a while, or they
Mm-hmm.
need a once a year checkup. They may not need me in the least. They may join my subscription program and just get weekly energy healings. Whatever it may be, they recognize there's a level of ascension that continues with it.
Oh, yeah, that's neat. And so we're going to post some links below the video here so you can look at Dr. Jeana's bio page and other resources. So on the bio page, you have kind of a intro call. Can you tell us about that?
On the bio page, if you'd like to get a hold of me, we can do a clarity call. That one's in there. And if you have anything else you would like to do on that, is that I'm here to help you do human design and energy healing through a combination to help you have an opportunity to become loving yourself, liking yourself, and giving yourself confidence in your decisions that you make and confidence in your next steps. And we provide that as a tool for you to be able to go forth and complete. So if you feel
Mhm.
lost or alone, like nothing's working, sometimes this is the piece that might help. So
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I know that as of this recording, it hasn't happened yet, but we're really looking forward to you, Dr. Jeana, coming with all of now that we have our new director of operations, who is a projector, to have you come in and look at all of our profiles. And so we can optimize the way we work together and honor each other, who we are, and probably reduce, not that there's a lot, but occasionally I do that manifesting generating thing. It's like bouncing off like a, Energizer bunny, right? And everyone was like, oh, so just to
They're all
help reduce some friction in the future, potential friction. So if we totally understand each other, honor each other's pace, like Tasha's always saying to me, well, what's your sacral say? And I'm like, I don't know. I just know.
I'll
Just like
teach
I
you
can
sacral
see what my
sessions.
sacral
Sacral
says.
sessions are wonderful.
Yeah, anyway,
And I
so
will
she's like,
say, understanding another's profile and even how to ask them questions and asking, um, understanding what their design is in relationships and in business when that's possible is a fabulous thing, because all at once you can recognize what they bring to the table
yes.
and stop and honor it. And as a manifesting generator, you come up with so many wonderful ideas, and figuring out which one is the one to implement or ones to implement
Right.
is them keeping catch up with you. And so you having an understanding is, okay, I'm going to have all these ideas, but that doesn't mean we have to do them all. I just need to throw them out, or I'm going to go berserko because they're in my heads. I just need to write them down. Giving yourself permissions and giving them permission to understand is a wonderful thing. So I find it to be super helpful. I found that, I loved my husband before, but I love him a lot more now that I understand his human design. And
Yes.
it
Yeah. So we're
totally
looking
makes a
forward to
difference.
that too. And, my husband James and I working with you. And, we're always improving our coupleness, if you will, together, growing together. So there's always other facets to learn. So we're really looking forward to that. if you had, Dr. Jeana, like one piece of advice, if you will, for someone on the healing journey, what would that be?
There's hope. That if
Mm.
you're out and all at once you come across this or whatever modality or whatever program, and all of a sudden it tugs at you to explore it more, that means there's hope. So even if you feel lost, alone, even if you are at a low place like I was, there's hope. And when you're ready, the teacher's going to appear. So all at once, if you're ready and you're searching for this, and that's the teacher, you're going to feel that tug at your heart. So the teacher appears when the student is ready. And therefore, you can stop and recognize there is hope. You wouldn't be out here looking if it wasn't time for you to embrace something, some part or some component of doing that. And, you know, when I first started, I delayed a whole year taking TOLPAKAN Healing too. And you were kind enough to offer me that second year. And the best thing I did was stopping to embrace it because I was ready that second year to embrace it wholeheartedly. And saying that is, hope is there. If you're still looking, that means there's still hope, and embrace it and see which teacher it is, or which guide, which mentor, which role model.
Beautiful. Thank you, Dr. Jeana. Thank you so much for spending time with us today and for sharing more of you. And also thank you to all of our listeners and people on YouTube. I'm going to put the links below like I promised, so you can connect to Dr. Jeana. If something in this conversation resonates with you, you can reach out to her and get one of the clarity calls or a human design reading so she can help you more, and love to see all of you in our beautiful light medicine community. All right, until next time, thank you, thank you.
Thank you so much for the opportunity, Dr. Karen. Thank
My
you.
pleasure. All right, bye everybody. All right, so I think I cut myself off there.
Did we go over? Oh no.
Yeah, that's okay. That's fine.
I'm
My
sorry.
husband,
My
that's
story
okay.
on Cindy always gets too long, and it was the hardest thing this year. So
Yeah, it was beautiful though. It was very touching and real and raw, and we love that. And don't worry about it being over. I can hear my husband's ready, almost 2 minutes to dinner, so I know he's ready for. He's doing
great.
something out there. Um,
Well, thank
yeah,
you. I sent you links the other day. I sent you the
yes,
links
I
on the
saw
different
that.
sessions. So whatever you need to do, but I put in there like 3 bookings because you get that on whatever. So
good.
Don't worry about it. So because James may want a reading, then you may want to, you know what I'm saying? So don't worry about it.
Yeah,
so
we
whatever you
do.
want it.
So
That's for you.
wants
That's
a
for you
soul
and your team to get.
reading.
Yeah. So just so you know,
Okay,
that link is
so
good for more than one coupon. That's what I'm trying to get at. So do not worry about it. And if you forget it, I tried to make it easy with
okay.
KH20, which is 20% off.
That is super good.
So
Okay, so
it's yours.
what I'm hearing is that the link, which I made sure I highlighted so I look at my email today because I didn't all weekend. Okay, all right. So
It was sort of hard to
okay, so
explain,
it
but
says
you
60-minute
multiple
booking link.
choices to use that coupon is what I'm getting at. You can use the
Okay,
coupon
so
multiple times.
it's just one link, right?
There's 3
And you
different
can use it
choices.
multiple
There's
times, and then
yeah.
where is the time? What's the time container for that?
The time
Is there
container,
a
it
time
says on
container?
one of them, it says 60 minutes or 90 minutes. And then the couples reading is a 2-hour reading. And then I usually, sometimes people say, I want to break it up. And then if we do, we break it up. And then we'll say 90 minutes. And then we'll come back for a 45-minute follow up with all the questions that show up. But I usually offer that whenever I send it because it's hard to book it when they do it. So it's easier just to say, I'm going to send you a link for a 45-minute follow up with the couples because it's really helpful to have an understanding. Because you'll write a bunch of questions down usually.
Okay, that's good. And I think, yeah, James is definitely very interested because you had mentioned, not, I couldn't explain any of it to him, but something about doing it through multiple different softwares. He double checked it. So
he
he's
does have a
concerned that his
defined
first
throat.
reading was erroneous.
He has a defined throat, but he does not a manifesting generator.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't have a motor to it, which means he feels like nobody hears him.
He's a generator.
Oh, I'm losing you, Dr. Karen.
Yeah, that's why we just came back from our, 3-day seminar. Sorry, that internet is unstable. Um, can you hear me?
I
No?
can hear you. I'm gonna turn the
No?
video off,
Okay.
so maybe that'll help.
So let's see. And
I'm still hearing you if you can hear me.
fine. It's on my end, not your end.
It's okay, but the video going off,
Okay.
maybe that
Okay,
helped on
good,
my
good, good.
end.
Yes, I can
Yeah.
hear you. Yeah,
Okay.
so yeah. My internet is I'm trying to click the link and it's just spinning, but it's my end because it just said my internet's unstable.
Oh, okay.
So
I
good
can
thing
always
it
resend.
decided to be unstable after our interview, not during.
It's okay. We'll get it.
Yeah.
And I'll just resend it in
No,
case
I
it
think
doesn't
that
do, but we'll be okay. We'll
James had
figure
a
it out.
no, it's fine. Yeah, I think it's just my internet for some
Okay.
reason.
And thanks
Um,
for looking
and
purple
then
today.
and then
I always love it.
I need to, yeah, my first one with you, I have to double check my time. Okay, I guess you
Okay.
can't really hear what I'm saying, but that's okay.
Okay.
We'll connect back online when I have. All right. Thank you, Dr. Jeana.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I hope she can hear me. I doubt it. Oh my God.
Thank you.